Good afternoon, welcome to my channel. I haven't been doing much. Junkin, I seem to lost my mojo a little bit. So I've been doing a teachable, but I've been also YouTubing a lot, and I found a lot of talent out there. And one lady that really struck a chord in my brain was Jar from Medieval. She actually lives 2.5 hours away from me. I didn't realise that. My friend and I, we bought quite a few digitals. To date, I've only used some of the digitals in my kits. But I watched a tutorial on tea dyeing and coffee dyeing. Now, they're the only pages I read. So that's pretty good for me. Now, she's got a beautiful tutorial, and I'm going to link that on YouTube. It's actually similar to what I used to use. I just didn't use doilies. Now, what you need is a major big box and these beautiful doilies. Now, in Australia, they're in Spotlight. My friend actually sent me a few doilies, and another thing that's really handy is that. So you need a box that you would normally, a big plastic box that you would normally use for moving. And what you do, and these have not been ironed at all, but they air dried, there's stacks of them. And I'll show you some of the imprintations in them. Like, I need to sit books in them. But I'm very impressed, Jar. I will be doing your method. Like I said, I've actually went doily shopping at Spotlight. Thanks to you, I was able to find the ones I wanted. And thanks to my friend Mary Lou, who sent me some. But look at that. And that's from those placemats. That's a doily. That's my friend from Canada sent me. But look at the variations in your papers. So basically what you do, and what she teaches you to do, is basically get your spray bottle, mix it with a mixture of half tea, half water. You lay your papers in that big box and you spray away, and lay your placemats as you will. And you just let them sit there, and some will go a bit thick. But look at the prints. Some of them will actually, because I only had a few placemats, so I didn't have many. I've got plenty now because I've been shopping at Spotlight, thanks, Jar. But look at that. That is really, really beautiful tea dyeing. And look, it's so quick. So if it's wet and cold, you don't have to go outside. You can let these air dry in front of your heater inside the box, all piled up. You're only going to tear at the pages if you're not removing them carefully. Because you see that, you can see where one of the pages has actually been lying down. So, and you can, just the patterns, like very unusual patterns, all from keeping them there. They're in there 2 days. So basically I had to, as they're getting dry on the top, I just kept taking them off. But it took over a 2-day period. But it's not like I had to sit there and do it. I mean, look at that. It just really, really fascinated me. So I will try and link her tutorial. So that's Jar from Medieval. She also does digital prints. But look, how amazing is that? Like, I only had one of those doilies, so they actually, it sipped through all the others. But I was so excited to show you, and then I'm going to try and do some in colour. So that might take some time. So boho ones. Again, you know, there's a tutorial. Jar's got one on YouTube. You know, medieval cats that are die for. So are florals and it's just gorgeous. And I'm just in love with my papers. So because I've been out of whack lately and not being able to get into anything much, I've been doing a Teachable, but I thought I'm just going to surf YouTube, get some nifty ideas and just play, you know. I don't have to be journaling every day, which is what I've been doing. That ripped a little bit, but who cares? A little bit of washi will fix that, or I just leave them as they are in their natural state. But I just think it's just gorgeous papers. So you can see the patterns. So there's another doily. But you can see where the other part, the rubber mat, was the indentation of part of the doily. And look, I have not ironed these, and they're just about ready to be just sat under books, and they'll be fine. No ironing. So I'm excited about that bit too. So basically, you get yourself a box, you mix, but like I said, I will link that tutorial because it's really, really good. Interesting. The variations in your paper. How cute. So I had all these. I just didn't have other doilies, except for the two my friend sent me. There's one there. And the paper's just really, really nice. And it's amazing how much you actually can achieve with just a hand. Well, I only had 4 pieces to work with. And that's for those 4 pieces and 2 spray bottles. That's all it took. Of mixture and tea and coffee was all it took to produce this amount of paper. So you're probably over that. Like I said, yeah, I'll link her tutorial on how to do it. I had to show you that one. And look at these ones. Like, they're fascinating, these pages. Absolutely fascinating. So it's going to make for some beautiful journals. There's a doily there. You wouldn't believe that's one doily, really, would you? And there was one dotted one. But this is all from the rubber mats. Okie dokie, well, there's another one there. So realistically, I've got quite a bit done in one hit for these pages. So that's one thing. Another thing, my favourite stuff to use, I love my little memory keeper thing. I love this. It's a Fitz's cutting tool. Now, it took a long time to build my, to get this sort of stuff. So I worked really hard and I tried my best to make good journals. Now, my favourite stuff to use is Mod Podge. I like the matte one. If I use it, because of the humidity in our country, and in other countries, especially if I'm doing swaps or selling journals, it's really important to use, after you use the Mod Podge, apply a bit of crystal clear acrylic. And this is a Nick the Booksmith method. I learned it from one of her tutorials. My favourite glues are fabric glue. You guys call it Fabric Tack. And we also got the 3-in-1 as well. Craft glue, PVA, and my other all-time favourite, which I didn't pick it up. Oh, here it is. It is here. Is this one. Now, I know a lot of people think it costs too much, but you can actually buy this by the bulk, because I normally buy about 5 or something, and they cost about, I don't know, $12. But it's my glue stick to go. I use it to attach fabric to covers before I sew them, whatever. You know, you don't need fabric glue all the time. For some things you do. For heavy materials, I would definitely use fabric glue. But with this, I find I get the material. So I've got material on the inside and material on the outside. That was done by that glue. So what I do, I glue it on, and then I just use the iron to the heat makes this glue even more fantastic. But it glues anything, paper, whatever. I seen Rachel from oh god, my brain's dead. I should have kept her thing. Anyway, she uses glue sticks all the time. She uses a different brand to me. I prefer this one because this is the one we get in this country, or in Australia. My favourite other items are my ruler. It's the best thing for ripping. Like, honestly, you don't need a ripping ruler. This will do just as good a job as any. So, you know, like, we think we need the ripping ruler, which I think costs about $20. I don't know. But I basically will rip away, and it doesn't take long. So there's that, the picture done. But I'll keep that because there's something there. So with that, I'll actually make a tag or something. But so it took me a long time before I got that ruler. I just had a simple, cheap ruler. My favourite scissors to go, Tim Holtz. Now, I am not saying to go and buy Tim Holtz. I just love these. These are the best ones I've gotten. I'm not into small scissors. I like my big scissors because I can cut straight with them. And I can wiggle around. A lot of people like small ones. I prefer these. For small stuff, the same, Tim Holtz. Stamps. Again, the best stamps I found was Tim Holtz. Like, I haven't used all the bugs yet, but Baby Wipes will clean them up as new. I just haven't had time to do that. So that's another favourite tool to go. Pinking shears. These are the best pinking shears ever. They're sharp. I had the cheapy ones, and honestly, they were blunt within a month. These don't get blunt. I just wait till it's 40% off, and I get this stuff. Now, in Australia, we don't get much specials on Tim Holtz, but we do on scissors and the likes and glues, but very rarely on Tim Holtz. My punch to go is that one. It's a pain in the butt to use because I haven't really learnt how to use it. I like this for cutting heaps of paper. I also got a guillotine somewhere, but I prefer the knife. I don't know why. I seem to cut straighter with that and a ruler. Favourite punch, my tab punch. Now, I also tend to keep a couple of other punches which I haven't got here, and I utilise them for edges and whatnot in my journals. Sometimes when I really, really lose my focus and mojo, what I basically do is I do a teachable. At the moment, I'm doing a really lovely teachable by Tracy Fox, but I'm using an Auntie Mace kit, the mushroom kit, and it's an amazing kit. So that's for this attaché. Now I still got to fray it, but I'm getting there. So slowly does it. I'm getting there. So it needs fraying. It just hasn't been done, but I just love that. Now I'll tell you a little story about this fabric. This fabric, I went to the fabric store because I thought, oh, I need to get some fabric. So I did go and get another piece of fabric to go with this, but I decided against it for some reason. Before I come home, I actually called into a thrift store and I found some doilies, which I was right because I'm into the old vintage doilies. So I called into a thrift store. But really what I liked is, I always forget I don't know if you guys have, where you don't use clothes no more. What you actually do is, those clothes that you don't use, I should say, they don't fit you or it's not fashion, whatever it may be. Well, this shirt, nice hippie shirt it was, my favourite thing. Look at that fabric. I've had so much fun using this fabric. So not only that, that fabric gave me that button, and the button on my journal. And, sorry, how do I forget, that beautiful fabric. On the inside I didn't use it, but it gave me that fabric for the suitcase too. And in the meantime, I've ripped heaps of it because I've got an idea that I want to try and do. So, yeah, keep an eye out on your bag of throwaways. See, I'm going to keep this now because I've got some great ideas for this panel. So basically, your clothing can be your best friend. A thrift store clothing shop, you know, sometimes they have the 50-cent racks. So my things to go are really easy. Another thing I really like, and I wouldn't do without, is my 2.5-inch punch, because I like making my pockets with it, and I like the 2.5-inch. If I could, I would have all the other sizes, but I've got to earn them. So what I do, I basically get things as I need them. So that's that. And thrifting. You know, the amount of books I get from thrifting and the uses I get out of books is amazing. Like, for that teachable, I've actually used this book. It says $5.10 there, but I didn't pay that much. I paid 50 cents. Oh, actually 10 cents. So this book, it's an amazing book. It's Australian. And I've made use of this book time and time again, you know, and It makes for good pages. It also makes for good just laying of pages. Look, that's a beautiful picture. Like I can cut that out and collage it on and it'll look beautiful. So it's the complete book of garden. It's the Reader's Digest one. It's actually Reader's Digest Association Limited, Sydney, Wellington, London. So that's Australia, New Zealand and London. So yeah, so that comes in handy. So I keep my eye out for things that are useful. Another tip is the little laces are really, really good. I buy lots of them because with these you can do so much. Like I'm just trying to think what I used it for earlier. Oh yeah, I used it for tabs. But I'm not going to open the attaché and show you that yet because that's for another tutorial. In the meantime, I've got to decorate that journal and I am at a block. So to me, it was just easier making the attaché. And I'll link Tracy's attaché teachables there so you can find it. This still needs all the fraying. I haven't finished it off, but I really want to show off the buttons. There was another button on that too. Actually, there was another one. There was that one. And I forgot to share the stamp, but there's the other button. How gorgeous is that? So there's 2 more buttons that are going to come in handy for me. This stamp, I think it was only about $5. I love using this stamp on pages. Wax thread. Like, if you can't buy wax thread, just go and buy 100% cotton and wax and just wax it yourself. It's actually better if you do. Yeah, another thing I found really, really good is embroidery thread. I don't know if you noticed, but if you use just normal cheap cotton, your sewing machine tends to drag, it tends to knot, and it also tends to get a lot of dust and fibres clogged up into the, everywhere, really. So I've gotten into using embroidery thread, and honestly, I believe it's made a real difference. I don't know if you can see it, but that's done with embroidery thread. It's different greens actually. Now I might have paid a couple of dollars extra, but I think I prefer the couple of dollars extra than having to buy a new sewing machine. Like I've sewn around that. So basically, yeah, embroidery thread. They're my favourite things to go. And stamps. I love me stamps. And hopefully I'll come up with some ideas. But thanks for watching. Hopefully some of these ideas will help you deciding in what to use and what not to use. You don't need much supplies to get going. Just this, your papers, and a bit of thrifting for books. And like I said, you know, if you're stuck for ideas and stuff, there's always teachables. Like I've gone on teachables a number of times. If I've sold a journal or 2 or whatever, I try and do a teachable. And I've done that for quite some time now, and I've gotten so much out of it that I feel confident that my work is all right, but that doesn't stop me from having lack of mojo, you know, or you know, I lose my mojo. It does eventually come back, and that's why I come back to the basics of maybe stamping. I've also got the journals that are called the Bible of Ideas. I've got 3 of them sitting there, so I need to go and visit those journals and hopefully get somewhere. But thanks for watching. Not that I showed you much, but hopefully it's made some sense to you.